is up, City Youth? Come on. I am excited to see everyone back from our last 2 weeks of Back to School Bash. That was so much awesome to see everyone show up for that. And we got a packed house again. But I'm here to tell you guys, you may be like, man, what's up for the entertainment tonight? What are we doing after this? You know, I'm sorry to say, we don't have any entertainment after this, but we are still going to have some fun. We just killed it with some worship. We're going to kill it with some small groups after. So it's going to be a little different than the Back to School Bash. But I'm here to tell you, we aren't here to entertain you every single Wednesday, but we are here to be real with you guys. We are here to love you. We're here to be, care about you, and we're here to be authentic. I don't believe we can get that anywhere else in this world. I believe we can get that here, though, at City Youth. So stick around, you guys. We are going to change your life, or God's going to change your life, and we're going to do it through God. But yeah, we are excited. You guys are back. We are excited what God's about to do through this word tonight. Who's excited about our new bumper? We got the sermon bumper, our new sermon series, Streaks. Come on, who's excited about Streaks? And you guys may be wondering what this whole streak thing is all about, but we're just really going to talk about streaks that matter, right? I think we're people that crave streaks. We crave win streaks for our favorite team. When we have a losing streak, we want to break it. And let's talk a little bit about the greatest streak of our era and our time, the Snapchat streak, right? Come on. The Snapchat streak, I see all you guys. You know you're on that Snapchat still. This may have been a thing maybe a couple years ago, but I think it's still a thing now. Back in my day, teaching at Randolph, I heard some pretty crazy streaks. Come on, the Randolph crew. I heard some pretty crazy streaks, man. Like our girlfriends and boyfriends talking about the streaks and the number they have, and I was like so impressed. So I'm going to put this number, I have it in my head, the highest streak that I ever heard of. I want to see if we have anyone in here beat it. Be honest, though. We are in church, okay? Raise your hand if you've had a streak with someone. You got that 100 emoji. If you've had a Snapchat streak more than 100. Come on, be honest. All right, wow, look at that. Almost the whole room. Raise your hand if you've had over 300. Still hands all up. How about 500? 500. Oh, hands go down. How about more than 800? Come on, look at Dane, Rose, Chloe. Look at all the Randolph kids. This is like a Randolph thing. What's the number? What's your highest number? What was it? 1,000? No, he doesn't know. Raise your hand, keep your hand up if you are over 980 Snapchat streaks. The highest number I ever heard was 986. Raise your hand if you have over 1,200. Chloe, what was your number?
1,088.
Wow, 1,088. We can give it up for that. That is impressive. So we're going to be talking about how we can have these streaks and we can have this life of consistency when it comes to Snapchat, but can we do it when it's about the things that matter? And tonight, we are going to be talking about a thing that we tend to be a little streaky in. We're talking about truth. And talking about this tonight, it was kind of a heavy burden. I'm like, God, I don't want to talk about this, you know. And so if you're going to get mad about anything that I say tonight, you got to get mad at God because this is from God, not me. But we're talking about truth tonight, and I think sometimes we are people that we believe that's true, or we believe this true, or God calls me to this, I believe that's true, but when he calls me to this and I don't really like it, I don't believe that's true. We've become a people that we just don't, truth is relative, right? It's true for you, but not for me. And I want to read this definition really quick of truth, just a quick definition to put in your guys' minds quick. It says, truth is calling something what it is. It is making a claim that is measurable, okay? Truth is making a claim that is measurable. Like beauty, you can't really measure beauty. That's an opinion. But hey, I can say that bird is black, that bird is gray. That's more of an objective truth. And so we have become a people that we believe everything is relative. We believe all truth is relative because we don't like it when it causes us to do something we don't want, right? We don't want to live up to the truth. And so I want to read one more quote here by St. Augustine. He was this great Christian father of ours. He says it like this: we love the truth when it enlightens us, but we hate it when it convicts us. So we are people that we do crave the truth, right? Someone lies about you, spreads gossip about you, you're like, no, tell the truth. You get a doctor's report, and you're like, nope, you better tell me the truth. I need to know what's wrong with me, right? We watch the news, and we're like, tell me the truth. I don't want fake news. We crave the truth, but when it comes to morality and when it comes to religion, we're just like, oh, that's true for you, but not for me. And then we start saying, oh, man, truth is just relative. It's true for you, but not for me. Have you guys ever tried to do that with your bank teller? Like, hey, come on, you go up to your bank teller, give me $100,000 right now. And they're like, sorry, Josh, but you only have $10 in your account. I'm like, well, that's true for you, but not for me. I have $100,000 in my account. You better give me my $100,000. And they're like, they're not going to give it. What you believe true isn't going to change what's true And so I'm here to tell you guys that I believe relative truth isn't a thing. I believe that there is only absolute truth. I would say all truth is absolute. Let me explain what absolute truth is. It is to say that something is absolutely true, that it is independently true for all people at all times and in all places, even if you don't know it or recognize it to be true. I mean, can you guys just imagine a world without absolute truth? It'd be chaos. It'd be like, wow, like this place is messed up. Like we wouldn't even be able to communicate. 2 + 2 = 4. The teacher would be like, 2 + 2 = 4. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Everyone would be on their own agenda, their own page. This life would be crazy. We wouldn't have civil law. We wouldn't have certain things. So we need absolute truth. Absolute truth is saying, hey, 2 + 2 = 4 for all people in all places at all times. It's saying, hey, Jesus is God for all people at all places at all time. He can't be not God at the same time. So I want to talk a little bit about people that may be a skeptic right now and be like, hey, I don't believe it. I'm not buying it, Pastor Josh. Truth's absolute. I don't believe that. And I want to put that claim to itself. I've heard someone say to me one time, there is no absolute truth. And I'm like, think about that statement. There is no absolute truth. I want to introduce that person to the law of non-contradiction. And so what the law of non-contradiction says, it says contradictory propositions cannot both be true in the same sense at the same time. How many of you guys watched The Bachelor this year? Come on, or The Bachelorette. It was Hannah Brown. Last year was The Bachelor. I'm going to use a simple statement using the word bachelor with Colton Underwood in it. We might have it back here. We'll see. But this is going to help you guys. I'm going to help you guys explain it a little bit. So a bachelor is someone that's not married, right? And so the simple sentence, Colton is a bachelor, is something that is correct. Colton is a bachelor. Colton Underwood's a bachelor. But to say Colton Underwood is a married bachelor, that is the law of non-contradiction. It contradicts itself. It's saying something, and by saying it, you're like, well, that doesn't add up. It's like me saying to you guys right now, I don't speak a word of English. And you're like, nope, that doesn't make sense, My brother's an only child. That statement doesn't make sense, right? See, to say there is no absolute truth cannot make sense. It's making a truth claim about absolute truth. It's a law of non-contradiction. So anyone ever tries to tell you there's no absolute truth, you just defeated your whole statement. You just defeated your whole argument by saying there's no absolute truth. It's the law of non-contradiction. And I want to stop on this for a moment because there's a notion going around, there's this idea going around that all religions can point to God. And I'm like, but is that true, right? Because we believe in absolute truth. We just proved it. Is that true? Does all religions point to God? And the hard thing about that is that all religions contradict on their basic truths, their main truths. And there's only one religion that says Jesus is God for all people at all times and all places, and that says he rose again, or he died and rose again 3 days later. There's only one religion that says that. All the other religions, they say, Jesus was a person, all that kind of stuff. So for the law of non-contradiction, it can't be Jesus is God for all people in all times and all places while being at the same time not God for all people in all places and all times. I know this is like intellectual constipation a little bit, but do you guys get my point? It contradicts. It can't both be true. Either Jesus is God for all people in all places or he's not God at all. And we have to understand that. I know that we may think that's narrow, but it's the same thing with math. Do we think math's narrow when they give us only one answer? I mean, have you ever heard of the really hard math problems, or you've done really hard math problems? There's a lot of good answers, but there's only one right one. And that's the same thing with all these religions. There's some good things about them. There's some right things about them. We align in the similar areas, but there's only one great answer, and that's Jesus. Come on, and that's why we have to understand that absolute truth is a thing, and we have to, hey, Jesus is the only way. Don't get mad at me for saying that, because Jesus said in the Bible, Jesus said, I am the way, not a way. I am the truth, not a truth. I am the life, not a lifestyle. He's the lifestyle. I'm sorry, that may be narrow-minded, that might be intolerant. Call it what you want. Get mad at Jesus. That's what he said, not me. The next topic I want to talk about is that now that we know absolute truth exists, now we can know that God exists, right? And you're like, what? What does that mean? I got another statement for you guys. I got another question to ask you. Think about this for a second. I'm going to let it think over a little bit. But this question, I want you guys to think of this. Before human minds existed on earth, would the statement, there are no human minds on earth, be true? I'll read that one more time. I want you guys to think over this one. Before human minds existed on earth, would the statement, there are no human minds on earth, be true? I would say yes, right? And so we see that truth is outside of human minds. It's not what he said, it's not what she said, it's not what I think. It's based off someone that is immaterial, that is timeless, that is spaceless, and that is outside of human minds, and that's God, right? That's what truth is. Truth is spaceless, it's timeless, it's immaterial, and it's outside of our minds. It's outside of human minds. It's outside of us. So the only other person that is God. So we see that truth exists, absolute truth exists, therefore God must exist. And that all truth, everything right or wrong, must come from God. And I think you're probably saying, well, why does that even matter, right? Why does it even matter? But I think of it like this. If I was born in Nazi Germany in 1945, I would believe that killing Jews was good. I'd believe that it was right and it was moral. If I was born in Nazi Germany. And then when the Americans tried to come tell me, hey, we're calling war on you, you guys are wrong, you shouldn't kill Jews, you shouldn't do this, I'd be like, no, you're wrong. And see, we need someone outside of humanity, a standard, a judge that dictates it, and that's God. That's why we need God. I'm not saying if we don't have God, people that don't believe in God can't be moral or can't be good, but it becomes a matter of opinion if we don't have God. It's my opinion versus Hitler's opinion. It's my opinion versus Maddie's opinion. It's my opinion versus Nick's opinion. Who's right, who's wrong? So we need God, someone outside of humanity to say, no, this is right and this is wrong. My final thing I want to ask you guys tonight is this. My final question for you. Is truth dependent on our sincerity and our emotions and our feelings? I think we may now be like, man, God's truth, yeah, that might be right, but I don't like it. You know, I know that there's absolute truth, but I don't like it. I don't want to change. I don't want to live for that. I don't agree with that. But does our emotions and sincerity change that? Does it change what we believe? We're going to turn to Genesis chapter 2, verse 15 through 17. If you guys got your Bibles, who's got their Bible? Come on. Nobody? Yeah. Genesis chapter 2, verse 15 through 17, it says, the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. And the Lord God commanded the man, you are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die. Fast forwarding to Genesis chapter 3, verse 1 through 6, but I want to stop there back on verse 17. God makes a truth claim right there, right? He speaks truth. And whatever God says, it is true, because God is truth. God created truth. He's the one that decides what is right or wrong. And so he makes a truth claim over Eve's life. He says, but you must not eat from it, otherwise you will certainly die. And what God says comes to pass. Genesis chapter 3, verse 1 through 6. Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? The woman said to the serpent, we may eat from fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die. Everyone say you will die. Come on, that's morbid, but here we're going. We're reading scripture. You will not certainly die, the serpent said to the woman, twisting God's truth. For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you'll be like God, knowing good and evil. When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate. I want to stop there for a moment, let that resonate a little bit. This past week, me and Alex, we're good buddies, and we were having just debates. We're talking about the NBA players and Kyrie Irving and how they were talking about the earth is flat. And come on, some people believe that. And then me and Alex got in a debate about gravity, and he's like trying to tell me that gravity exists, and I'm like, dude, gravity doesn't exist. He goes, yes, it does, and you'll have effects of it, man. It'll wreck you. I'm like, who are you to tell me, Alex, that I can't believe that gravity doesn't exist? Who are you to tell me that? Why would you judge me? Who are you? You know, it's true for me, but not for you. And I started getting frustrated with Alex. I'm like, dude, do you really think that gravity exists? And we were just getting arguments. He's like, all right, if you don't believe gravity exists, then jump from a ladder. I'm like, jump from a ladder? Okay. So I'm going to do that tonight because I'm so mad at Alex. I'm so mad that he would call me out. I'm so mad that Alex would say, hey, you can't believe this. You can't believe that. And I'm going to prove him whatever I believe is going to be true. That truth is based on my sincerity, based on my emotions, and based on what I believe. Should I go higher? So tonight, I believe when I jump, just because I believe it, and I'm sincere about it, I really mean it, I'm going to believe what I want to believe. I'm going to jump, and since I don't believe gravity exists, gravity isn't going to have an effect on me, right? So I'm going to jump. One, two. See, but that's what many of us look like, right? We let our emotions get in the way. Who are you, God, to keep me away from that? Who are you, God, to keep me away and tell me I can't do that? Who are you, God, to tell me that's true and that's not true? Who are me, youth pastor, Pastor Jordan, to tell me that I can't sleep with my girlfriend? Why are you keeping me from that? Who are me, youth leader, to tell me that I can't gossip about my friends? You see, the only thing that God is trying to keep you from is falling flat on your face. That's the only thing God is trying to keep you from tonight. You see, and I just talked about Eve. And Eve fell for another truth. She fell for her own truth because she fell for her desires. She fell for her emotions. She said, look at that tree. It's pleasing to my eye. Why would God keep me from that? Look at that tree. It's good for wisdom. I can gain wisdom. I can see like God. I can see good and I can see evil. I'm going to move this for a second. You see, Eve thought God was keeping her from something, but the only thing he was keeping her from was falling flat on her face. We have to understand that when we align our life with God's truth, it is better. It is better for us, and it will keep us from falling flat on our face. It will keep us from hurting ourselves, damaging ourselves, and being in a place where we don't want to be. I want to read this to you guys. It says, our truth doesn't change what's true, right? My truth about gravity, I can believe that it doesn't exist, but the effects will still happen. It won't change the consequences. Our truth does not change what's true. Our truth does not change the consequences of truth. And I want to finish with this. You guys may be in here tonight and be like, so what? You know, who cares about truth? Who cares? Does it even really matter when it comes to religion, when it comes to morals? And I'm here to say that it does matter, right? There may be some of you just be like, so what? Who cares about truth? But I'm here to say it does matter. When we look at people that are successful in this life, they choose truth in the right ways when it comes to their morals, when they're choosing it about sex, when they're choosing it about money, when they're choosing it about drugs, relationships, friendships, leadership. The way we align with truth in our morals will lead to success. See, I was having a debate with an atheist friend. 5 years ago, I gave my life to Christ, and I was like that weird Christian that was just so excited about it. I was like posting all over Facebook, all these Bible verses, all this stuff, and this atheist friend of mine from high school, he's like, dude, God doesn't exist. And we're like debating for an hour, and we have all these good answers going back at each other, and he's like, God doesn't exist. And then at the end, he's like, dude, what does it even matter? You just believe what you want to believe, and I'll believe what I want to believe. And I'm like, dude, it matters so much. You see, if I'm wrong about God, I've wasted my time, I've wasted my resources, I've wasted my life. Why are we even here right now? And I'm like, if you're wrong about God, you've wasted your eternity. See, we have eternal consequences, whether truth is right, whether there is truth. Truth matters. It's eternal consequences, it's moral success. And throw away the eternal consequences. Let's talk about the here and now. You see, there's truth in religion, and there's truth in morals around this world that are so wrong, that they're horrible. Right now in Saudi Arabia, there's an extremist group of Muslims. And I love Muslims. I think they're some of the most peaceful, most genuine, most loving people. I went to OKC and I got to spend a whole dinner with them. My roommate from Saudi Arabia in college, I spent a whole year with him. He was awesome. Abdul Rahim. He was awesome. But there's a group of extremists right now, and they're teaching young children that Jews are pigs and that people that aren't Muslims should die. And you're like, so what? What does truth matter? So what? It matters right now. People's lives are at stake because when those children grow up and they fly planes in the buildings and they're killing innocent people, and when they blow themselves up in public and people are dying, I think that truth matters. I think we need to find the truth right there. I think maybe we should go and tell them that, hey, we should love our neighbor as ourselves. We should serve like Jesus. We should love like Jesus. And then I think about how in this country, we teach a one-sided biology curriculum. we teach something even worse almost. We teach people that, hey, you're no different than a pig. You're no different than an ape. There is no significance or purpose to your life. You are no different. We teach this atheistic truth, and I'm like, man, does that truth matter? I think it does when we start teaching these kids, hey, you're nothing but a naturalistic blind process that just happened. You're not created by a God with significance or purpose. And these kids grow up and they're not like people or good citizens that be like, hey, I see everyone as a child of God. I'm going to love everyone as myself. But they grow up as criminals because they see no value in human life. They see no purpose in human life. They're just like, there's no meaning. I can do whatever I want. I can rip people off. I can cheat, steal, and lie. See, I think that truth matters. And I want to end on a positive note. I think about Mother Teresa. She was an amazing woman of God. And she went to India. And in India, they believe in Hinduism. And Hinduism believes in reincarnation, and they believe in karma. And oftentimes, Hindus leave people that are suffering, crying, broken, and hurting, they leave them ignored because they believe that karma is just happening to them from a past life. They believe that they reincarnated and they're living a worse life because they did something bad in a past life. And Mother Teresa's like, I'm going over there, I'm going to change their culture. And she did. She started changing people's lives. And you're like, what? So what? Does truth matter? Ask the people the lives that were changed from suffering to now doing well and thriving. She taught them Christian principles that we are supposed to love the people that are hurting and broken. Does truth matter? Ask the people in Hinduism that are still struggling and hurting and broken. See, truth matters when it comes to religion. When it comes to morals, it really does matter. And I want to leave you guys with this last bottom line here tonight. Regardless of what the real truths are concerning religion and morality, our lives and eternity is greatly affected by it. Those who say, so what? Who cares about truth, morality, and religion are ignoring the reality and skating on thin ice. They're blindly skating on thin ice. The bottom line, we owe it to ourselves in here to find the truth and act on it. We do. We owe it to say, hey, truth is truth. It's not just what I believe, but it's what God believes. I need to find that truth. I need to understand it. And I need to help people change their minds because I believe there is one great truth, you guys, and we're doing it right now. And it's Jesus. And I believe that if we live to those principles, we're going to help the broken, we're going to help the hurting, we're going to change lives. People are going to have salvation. See, no other religion had God come down to them, had God meet them and died for them so we could be with him forever.